Hello, hello.
Hi, Abhinay.
Yeah, hello, hello, sir. Am I audible, right?
Audible, audible.
Some noise is coming from my background.
Uh, Actually, noise is there from my background as well.
Okay, your voice is clear.
Okay, okay.
Just
Just
tell me
reaching.
about myself.
No,
Some
it's
noise
clear,
is
it's
there.
clear.
Okay, okay. Actually, I'm traveling, so I'm in one hotel. So just taking the classes from outside.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. Okay, sure. So we will just wait for 2 to 3 minutes, then we can
Yes,
start,
sir.
right?
I thought
Okay,
classes
okay.
there from 9 o'clock or 8:30.
No,
I
no,
confused.
8:30. I have to catch the bus at 10.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no issue.
Hello, am I audible, sir?
Yeah, been audible, audible.
Okay, so I'm just sharing my screen. Right. I hope your screen is visible, right?
Yes, visible.
Okay, okay. Fine. So, in the last class, we have seen about the Lang graph, right? And in the Lang graph, we have seen the conditional edges, right? And so, you asked one question, right? So, I was not sure about that particular thing. So let me just clear you, right? See, the conditional edges are the very important component, right? Whenever we are building any agent using the Lang graph. Why? The reason being is that the conditional agent will basically help, right, to my LLM, right? That there are certain tools available in your program, right? And you can go with these tools if necessary, right? If you will not use these conditional edge into your program, right? So, I mean, there will be tool, right? There will be the tool in your program, but the LLM will not able to recognize those tool, right, for its working condition. So this is the one built-in scenario, right? This is the one, the built-in scenario we are having when we are building any agent, right, using this Lang graph. Okay, the second scenario is that you can externally also command, right, or you can externally also some command, right, using this conditional edge. Okay, I will show you means after some time that how you can externally give the command for these conditional edges, right? So okay, let me just quickly recap everything, right? Means whatever we have seen so far. Okay, I hope noise is not coming, right? I'm very really sorry for that particular thing, right?
No, no, noise is not coming.
Okay, okay, fine, fine, fine. Okay, so see, we have started with the Lang graph, right? And the Lang graph concept is something that is related to your means. Moreover, it will look like the object-oriented programming. The reason being is that it has the much more flexibility, right? Everything is in the form of the nodes and the graph, right? So the internet, a kind of interconnectivity between the nodes is more easier, right? You don't need to make the chaining process, right? You don't need to follow the chaining process while you are building any kind of agent, right? So this is something very easy. Okay, so in the Lang graph, right, so we have seen the first thing that is known as state, right? So see, if we talk about the state, right, and if we look at the coding part of the state, so let me show you. See, the state is nothing but this is a kind of situation, right? Means a kind of instant situation. Okay, so let me show you over here, right? So you can just see over here. This is the class whose name is the state, right? So what it basically do now, it will basically have the a kind of two types of messages over here, right? It will have your older messages, right? Let's suppose you have done some sort of conversation with your agentic AI chatbot, right? So it will basically store all the conversation into the list, right? And let's suppose presently you are doing any some sort of conversation, right? So it will basically add that particular message, right? It will do the dot append method, it will perform the dot append method and will increase the a kind of your previous conversation, but this conversation is not a permanent conversation, right? I mean to say that this memory is not a kind of permanent memory, right? This will be the kind of state or a kind of instance memory, right? That will be there but for a instance, right? Means we know now the memory concept is there in the Lang chain, right? That will basically help you to store your all the past conversation, right? So this one now, this state, right? This state will store all your messages, right? That is good. I mean, it will act as a kind of buffer memory, you can say. Not a buffer memory, you can say. We can say that it will act as the kind of the memory that will be used for the particular instance. After that, it will be deleted, right? So this is the state we have seen. Okay, and after that, once you are done with, you can just see over here the messages store the chat history, but this is also for the instance, right? Or you can say for a while, right? After that, once you are done with the complete cycle or the execution of your agent, it will be deleted automatically, right? But whenever you want to have the longer conversation, then normally, just like in the LangChain, we have used the concept of the memory. The same thing we will use here also, right? That I will explain in today's class, right? Then after that, let's suppose you are having the one conversation right now. So what we can do, we can just append, or we can just automatically add the new message to your previous state, right? So everything basically start with the state over here, right? Now it is done. So what you can do, you can just create the state graph, right, by passing your state. Okay, then what we need to do, we need to define some kind of tools, right? Means you can say we can have some DuckDuckGo tool, right? DuckDuckGo run, or we can have some a kind of weather API, right? Or we can have some other tool as well. Okay, let's suppose we are having the tool which is doing the multiply, right? Which is doing the a kind of sort of multiply or something, right? So these are basically known as the tools for uh, the purpose which is means your LLM is not able to perform, right? After that, what we do now, we basically build a kind of chatbot node, right, into your graph, right? Then once you are done with this thing, then what we do, we basically add mean this chatbot, right, to my flow. Means my flow in the sense with my state, with my tool. Now the chatbot is also added, right? You can just see over here, this is your state which is storing some messages, your tool, right, your chatbot. Now we will just try to integrate everything, right? Now whenever you will ask your LLM, whenever you will basically give the query to your LLM, right? So LLM will basically search, right? It will basically search for the tool, right? The searching of the tool will be only possible when you will write the conditional edges, right? Conditional edges is quite important over here. If you will not write the conditional edges, now the tool will be there, right? The tool will be there in your program, but they will be not used by the large language model. So this is the importance of this conditional edge over here, right? Then what you can do, you can just have the tool execution, right? And you can just means whatever the response you will get, right, you can just add that particular decision, right, using this conditional flow, right? Means, okay, let me just show you. So see, a kind of logic is there, right? uh, Means whenever the LLM will think, right? So it will think, do I need the help of the tool, right? If yes, then go to the tool node, right? And you can go this tool node via the conditional edge only, right? If you will not write the conditional edge, right? So you can't find this tool node, right? And inside this tool node, we are having the different types of tool, right? And if you don't want to go, so you can directly go to the LLM. Means if you don't need the tool and you are just end with your first conversation, right? And for this first conversation, everything will be stored in the form of the state memory, right? That means your temporary memory. This is not your permanent one. Okay, and see, this is the advantage of here, mean using the lang graph instead of using the lang chain over here, right? And once you are done with using the, let's suppose you are using the tool, right? The loop will go back after the tool use, and you can just start the execution of your again the chatbot from the starting point, right? So let me just explain you this thing via this flow chart. Okay, so let's suppose this is your agentic AI, right? And you are starting something, you are having the chatbot that will think using the LLM with the tool, right? Because what we have done, we have done the binding of the tool, right? And now it will think, right, does I want to call a tool like the search or not, right? See, it will think now, but to use this particular tool, we need one more thing, that is known as your conditional edge over here, right? Without the conditional edge, this thing will not work, right? And if you don't want to, so means your conversational will end over here, right? Everything will start from the beginning, right? And if you are end with using the tool, so what you can do, you can just again go back to your chatbot. Means it will again go back here, right? Again the LLM will think for the second cycle. So this is the first cycle. right? And for the first cycle, there is a kind of temporary memory is there. A kind of temporary memory is there, right? So let's suppose now you are having the first tool, then you are passing the output of this one to the second tool, right? So you don't need to make the one permanent memory, right? You can just take the help of the temporary memory, right? Why? Because this is in the one cycle, right? Everything is running in the one cycle. Okay, so this is the a kind of benefit of using the lang graph over the lang chain. I hope making sense, right?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so you can just see over here, right? So see, the lang graph itself does not have any built-in long-term memory, right? This could be only possible when you are going with the memory concept, just like in the lang chain we have used, right? But what you can do, but it supports some stateful processing memory, right? That is your temporary memory, right? And this is stateful in the sense for a one cycle it will store everything, but whenever you are going for the next cycle, it will delete everything, right? That state will be deleted. Okay, so I hope the things are clear, right? Now the things is that now see, we have seen that conditional edges, right, is used by the llm. Okay, is used by the llm, right, just to call the tool, right? Means for now we have seen this particular thing, right? Now the question is that can we use the same concept, can we use the same concept, or can we define the condition, right? The answer is yes, right? We can also define the condition according to the different scenarios, and we can just take the help of the condition edges as well, right? So let me just show you one more thing, right? Let's suppose uh, mean see, and this is the example, right, in which now we are externally deciding everything, right? Internally is nothing is internally in the sense it will be defined by the, or it will be decided by the llm, right? But if we talk about the externally calling, that means the user will tell, okay, if user is searching about the weather, right, you should call the weather tool. If user is searching about anything, right, that any line or any you can say we are having any query or any prompt that consists of the math word, right, just go for the calculator tool, right? That means we are defining everything. Okay, and if some not there, right, so we can just continue with the chat. So let me just show you, right? So this is the one function we have defined over here, right? And see, in this function we have just passed this state. Why? Because it will basically helpful just to store your stateful memory. Okay, and this is the last message. See, in the state we are having the n number of messages, right? The minus one in the, we are just trying to fetch the last indexed message, right? Because everything is in the form of the list, right? If you want to retrieve the last index message, you need to write -1 over here, right? So this is the -1, and we have converted everything into the lowercase, right? So let's suppose user is asking, uh, tell me the weather of Delhi, right? And this is your last message, whatever you have passed to your agent, right? So what it will do, it will try to retrieve the last message, right? And it will search for the word. I mean, you can just define your word, right? Because you are externally controlling your tools, right? You are not totally dependent on your large language model. Okay, so you can just use this particular thing. Let's suppose weather is there in the last message, so you should just return the, this is the weather tool, right? This is the object for your weather tool that we have already defined above, right? In the similar way, if you will ask anything means which is related to the math, what you can do, you can just use the calculator tool, right? And if you if nothing is from here, so it will again just jump to the starting of your chatbot, right? That mean here. right? So I hope the things are much more clear means till now,
Yes, clear.
right? So okay. So see, this is the thing, right? See, most of the time now we don't need to define these. I mean, we don't need to externally control your tools, right? Because we know that LLM is having so much of power, right? It know how you can means how it can basically break down your query as well. Means let me just tell you, right? So let's suppose we are having some complex query. So yeah, I'm building one application, right? I will let you know, right? Means so, or what we can do now, we can just sit one day, right? By the end of this week, okay? So I will tell you that how I'm building this complete application using the LangGraph. Okay, this is some a chatbot for the clinic. So this will basically help you to check the slot of the doctor is available or not, right? And if it is available, so we will try to write the query as well in the database. Okay, and we'll change the database. So whenever the next user will come, so it will just check, right, whether this particular doctor is available in the on that particular day or not, right? If it's the slot is already booked, so I mean that particular slot will not show, right? I mean it will not show to the end user. So I will let you know, right, this particular thing.
Sure.
So this is the kind of good thing, right? And we will do everything with the help of agentic AI using the LangGraph.
Okay. Will it be
But
multi-agent or?
yeah, it will be multi-agent.
Okay, great.
Okay. Okay, fine. So let's suppose we are having the multiple query over here, right? So tell me the let's suppose I'm just giving the one query. Tell me capital of India, right? Capital of India and its weather, right? So you can just see over here, this is the nested query, right? Mean not a nested query. This is the query which is having the multiple instruction, right, in a single query. So see, this kind of problem was arising when we were using the LangChain. I hope you remember that particular. Uh, I guess we were doing that currency exchange one, right? Currency exchange. We were building one agent, right? So what it was doing, it was basically trying to fetch the $1 is equal to 83 point something rupees according to its own trained data, right? Not on the current one,
Right.
right? Why it was doing? Because it was executing both the query in a one go without breaking down, right? But the LangChain will basically, sorry, but the LangGraph will basically help you to break down this complex query into the simpler one, right? And it will try to execute one by one, keeping the stateful memory for that particular one cycle, right? So this is the kind of advantage we will see means with respect to the lang graph. I hope making sense, right?
Yes.
Okay. So let me just show you code as well. Right? Okay. I guess this code we have already seen, right? So okay. Now what we will do? Now we will jump to the new concept, right? So in the lang graph, we have seen the basic chatbot. We have integrated the tool as well, right? Then what we have done, we have seen the stateful memory as well, right? Which is basically relevant for the one cycle, one complete cycle. Now what we will do, we are having the stateful memory that will basically means it will end up right in a one cycle. but let's suppose but let's suppose you want to build a long term memory, right? That will store your complete conversation, right? No matter how many cycle it is running, right? So for that particular thing, what we need to do, we need to again come to the one more new concept. That concept is the memory one, right? In the same way, right, it will act just like we were using in the lang chain, right? So let me just show you this thing, how we can do. Okay, so I'm just taking the help of this lang graph documentation part, right? So see, we are done with the tool, right, to answer your question, but it does not remember the context of your previous interaction, right? I mean, it will remember your current cycle conversation. Okay, so what we need to do now, see, this thing is very important over here also now, because it will provide you much more flexibility, right? It will basically help you to generate the checkpoint as well, right? So okay, so you can just see over here, the lang graph solve this problem through the persistent checkpointing. Means if you provide a check pointer when compiling a graph, a thread ID when calling your graph, right? Lang graph automatically save the state after each step. That means, let's suppose you are running a lang graph first cycle, and once it is done, so with respect to this first cycle, right, a thread ID will be generated, right? And this thread id, what it will do, it will basically store your conversation, right? Let's suppose this is your thread id 1. Let's suppose you are running one more cycle, right? This is your second cycle, then the next thread id will be generated. It will again store your that particular current conversation, right? Now you are having the one and the two conversation in your memory, right? And see, for one thread, your thread one, right? Your thread ID one, right? This will be your first checkpoint. Just like the in a normal machine learning, I have told you, right? So we can have the checkpoints when you are training your model, right? If it is fail, so what you can do, you can just resume from that particular point, right? So this is the same concept over here also. Means if you are done with the first cycle, right? What do? You will just make a checkpoint, right? That checkpoint will nothing but this is your thread ID, right? Let's suppose you are here, right? And you just forget to run the second cycle, and you just after come after 1 year, right? What you can do, you can just resume your complete thing from this first thread ID. I hope the things are making sense, right?
Where exactly it gets stored? Thread ID.
So thread ID will in the memory. We will use that the concept of the buffer conversation buffer memory. That the same thing that we were using in the LangChain. I hope you remember conversation buffer memory, conversation summary memory.
Nay, that is okay, but I just thought some visitor visits after 1 year or so. So that interaction exactly whether it gets stored in a database or how
No, 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 no. That will be stored in your ROM, in your ROM,
in your
ROM.
okay.
Yeah. I mean, just like the normal, if you are using the hard disk, right, it will be stored in the hard disk only. I mean, just like the
Okay.
normal memory. Yeah.
Oh,
So see, whenever you will invoke the graph again with the same thread ID, the graph load its save state, allowing the chatbot to pick where it left off.
okay.
Right. So this is something quite interesting as well, and it is easy to implement, right, as compared to the LangChain, right? And see what you can do now. Let's suppose you are done with the first checkpoint and you want the human intervention in between. Let's suppose it is done with the first cycle, right? Now you want to ask the human, mean yes or no, right? If it will give the yes, so you can just resume your cycle as well. So in between, the human intervention can be also possible because of this particular thing, means making the checkpoint between your different cycle with the help of the thread IDs, right? Okay.
Okay.
So okay, yeah. So you can just see over here, the checkpointing is much more popular, a kind of powerful than the simple chat memory, right? Let you save and resume the complex state at any time for any error recovery, right? Let's suppose any error is coming. Okay, the what we can do, we can just stop there, right? Let's suppose stop. Then the new a kind of expert will come, right? So what the expert will do? Expert will understand the error, right? And he will try to resolve the error as well. And once the error is resolved, so what we will do now, we will just pass some a kind of input to the resume state, right? So it will again resume its work, right? So this is the overall scenario of using this the checkpoint, right? So error recovery, human in the loop, workflow, time travel interaction, and more, right? So all these things can be possible, right? And it will, the checkpoint is enabled to run the multi-turn conversation as well, right? So I hope making sense, right? This checkpoints,
Yes.
right? So in the same manner, just like we have seen in the lang chain, uh, right? Again, we will use the means we will use the memory saver, right? That will basically help to create your checkpointers, right? So from the langgraph.checkpoint.memory, import the memory saver, and this is your function that will be stored in this object, right? So yeah, so once you are done with this thing, we will just build this thing, right? Means whenever you will just compile your graph, right, we will just point the checkpoint, right? So let's suppose you are first time you are compiling your graph for the first cycle, right? So it will make the checkpoint for the first cycle. If you are compiling the graph for the second cycle, it will make the checkpoint. That means it will generate the second thread ID for your second compile, and so on, right? So all these things can be stored in this memory saver, right? So let me just show you. I guess graph was also there. Uh, okay, so let me show you this code as well, right? So okay,
Abhinay, just one question.
yeah.
I have seen most of the sites are using Azure OpenAI. So, what do you suggest? Should I purchase something, $2, $3, $5 kind of, to try
Uh,
your APIs from?
I told you na, if you want to go with the Azure OpenAI, na, mean not directly your OpenAI service, right? So what you can do na, you can just use Azure AWS, sorry, yeah, Azure startup program. You can just register for that particular thing. So
It's a
they will give,
startup program. Okay.
yeah, you can just write any small idea, right? You just send them. The most of the time they approve, and you will get around 300 to 400 credit free of cost.
Oh,
Yeah.
how to send that?
There is a one program. Let me just show you. So for my startups, now I have done the same thing. So this is the Microsoft startup program, right? So this is your startup founder hub. So you can just sign up over here, right? So they will ask some question, and after that you can just write any idea. I mean, no matter whether the idea is unique or not, right? You just submit, right? One or two, one time. You can
Okay.
submit from the two different ideas as well. So that will also work. So see, they provide the 1000 USD credit, right?
Okay.
And once you are done with this thing, if you are have some investor and other thing, right? So they will offer the 1,50,000 credit as well, free of cost. Main infrastructure support will be provided by the Microsoft, and even the Amazon also provide the same thing. They also have the AWS startup program.
Okay.
Yeah.
They have startup programs as well. Okay. That's great.
So okay, let me just share you the link as well. Yeah. So you can just sign up over here, and you can just write any idea. Means no worry.
Sure, sure.
Okay. Right. So now what we will do means we will check for the that how we can integrate the memory, right? So you can just see over here, right? So we'll start with the basic. Means again, we want the LangChain Open API, right? OpenAI key. Then we'll install our LangGraph and the LangSmith as well, right? So once it is done, so see, I'm using the Azure service, right? Because I don't have the OpenAI key, right? But I have the free credit over here, so I'm just using these credits. right? So this is my API key and all those things. I have just initialized my large language model because I know that large language model will be responsible for breaking down my query, right? Understanding my query. Once it is done, or it will understand my query upon that particular thing, what it will do, it will basically take the help of your conditional edges, right? Just to call your tools, right? Mean if it is necessary, right? It will try to understand whether it will think, right? Your LLM will think whether I need to call your tools or not, right? So that is why LLM is very very crucial part over here, right? So we will just first initialize our LLM, right? And after that, let's suppose I'm using a tool that name is DuckDuckGo search, right? So this is the very easy example, right? So now you can just see over here, right? Yeah, so we have some libraries over here, right? From the typing annotated library, just to uh, append your previous message with your current one, right? Then we have the tool node that consists of your tools, right? Then we have the tool condition. The tool condition is a kind of bridge between your tools and your LLM, right? So this is the one scenario, okay? And then we have the add messages. So whatever the conversation you will do, right, the current conversation that will be stored in your messages list, right? And if you want to retrieve your last message, so what you can do, you can just write messages of in the square bracket -1, right? So then we have the state graph. This is very crucial part, right? Just to start your graph, right? And it will give you a stateful memory, right? For your particular instance or the particular cycle. After that, it will be deleted, right? So you can just see over here, we have just the state graph, right? Then we have the tool for DuckDuckGo search. Then we have the one list that will store your tool. You can just rename it DuckDuckGo. Then what we have done, we have just binded our tool, right, with your LLM, okay? And this is your chatbot. Everything will start from here, okay? Now inside this chatbot, you can just see over here, we are having the LLM with tool dot invoke your current message, right? Whatever the message you are having, okay? Or the message that are present in your complete cycle. So most of the time it will try to see your last message only, okay? And invoke, it will break down your queries into the sub queries. It will try to understand, right? Then we will just add this chatbot as the a kind of node in your graph, right? Then we have the tool node as well, right? We will add the tool node also in your graph, okay? Now you can just see over here, this is your add conditional edges, right? So we have the chatbot and we have the tool condition, right? So this thing is very important. Your chatbot need to interact with your tool, right? So for that particular thing, we have to define the conditional edge over here, right? If you will not define, so although the tools are present, right, although this tool is present in your program, but your LLM will not able to fetch this tool, right? It will not able to communicate with your tool, right? So this is the one scenario. So once you're done, you can just uh, yeah, add the edge, right? And this is your starting point. So we will set this as starting point. Then we have the memory saver also, for your complete conversation. So we are just defining this as well. After that, what you can do, you can just compile this thing, right? But remember one thing, when you are compiling your graph, you need to pass the memory, right, in the form of the checkpoint. For the one cycle, it will have the one thread value in the form of the checkpoint. For the second cycle, right, for the second time when it is running, right, from the chatbot, it will always start its conversation from the chatbot. This is your entry point. You can just see over here, right? So see, I have printed this thing now. So this is your thread ID. This is the thread ID in which your first conversation have been stored, right?
Okay, got it.
Yeah. So I hope now the things are much more clear, right? It is clear. It is making much more sense to me as well, because this is also very new for me as well, right? I was using the LangChain, but I thought to just give you the introduction about these things as well, because nowadays everyone is asking for the LangGraph because of its cool working, right? Everything is working so systematically. Okay, I'm just following this documentation part. This one, this one. Even some of the things are not available over here, then I need to refer some other documentation, and in the same way. Okay, so this is the one thing, right? Now see, now the thing is that now the thing is that means you are making the checkpoints. You are making the checkpoints, and these checkpoints are basically stored in the form of the thread IDs, right? So let's suppose, okay, okay, okay. Let me take to you the previous example that I have already shown you. Yeah, this will work, I guess. Uh, okay, so let's suppose I have this agent, right? And this is the agent will which is basically responsible for tour planning, right? So let me just show you. Okay, so we are having the agent that is your travel planning, right? And we are having the first agent that will basically able to uh, book a flight, right? And let's suppose you have given the query that plan a trip for Shimla on 30th May 2025, right? Now it what it will do now, let's suppose you are having the agent that will book your flight, right? And we know that agent is nothing but in the backend it consists the tool, right? Tool may be a kind of some API, or it could getting the information from any database, right, using the fast API, right? So this is the one thing. Once you are done with this thing, now see, whenever it will try to execute your tool one, right, tool one, in the sense it will basically check the API, right, that is responsible for fetching the flight information of 30th May 2025, right? Let's suppose it is showing you like this: 1 2 3 4, right? The price is 1,000, price is 5,000, right? Price is 8,000, right? Price is uh 5,400, right? Now what it will do now, let's suppose this is your first cycle, right? You have run your first cycle. So in the first cycle it will able to generate the thread ID, right? Thread ID, and this thing will basically stored in your memory saver, right? Now here what you can do now, you can just stop, right? Means once you are done with this first thread ID, you can just stop over here, and you can ask the human, right, that you have to choose this one. Either you can go with this one, you can go this one, or either you can go with this one, right? So see, what we are trying to do now, we are just trying to include the human into the loop, right? We are just trying to include the human into the loop, but and all these things are possible by the help of the thread ID, right? Let's suppose human has selected, okay, I want to go with this one, right? He has just click on this one, right, this tab. Okay, so now the next task will resume from over here, right, by taking the 1,000 flight, whatever the detail is there. Let's suppose it is of 9 a.m., right? So it will take the 9 a.m. flight. I hope making sense, right? So this human into the loop can be only possible, right, because of this thread IDs or the checkpoints we are having. I hope this example is clear, right? So this is much more na a kind of interactive, right? Means the
Yes.
human is participating, right? So nothing is basically happening on its own, right? Human is also participating in this a complete workflow, right? Whatever the app, and this is much more important as well. It is showing you all the options, right? Now it is up to the human, right? What he want, right? And see, whenever it will go for the and see, means when you will look for the outer space, right? Everything is basically stored in your your complete memory, right? Whatever we are have assigned. right? Your memory saver. Okay. So see, whenever it will resume its task now for your thread ID 2, right? So what it will take the output of your thread ID 1, right? Means let's suppose it is taking 9 a.m. flight, right? And it's no 9 a.m. will be your a kind of the flight will a kind of onboarding, right? And it will drop you 11 a.m. And after that, let's suppose your second agent is there, right? That is responsible for cab planning, right? Now the cab planning will start after 11 a.m. I mean taking the 30-minute gap, so it will check for 11:30 cabs, right? Again it will ask for the human. Okay, you have this option, this option, this option, this option, and this option, right? You want to go with this option. Okay, good. Now again, let's suppose you want the hotel booking, right? Again it will ask for the human. Okay, that okay, this is on one hotel which cost us 4,000. This is the second hotel, 5,000 cost, 3,000, 2,000, and 1,000, right? Again it is up to the human, means what kind of hotel he want, right? So this kind of thing is only possible, mean whenever you have the checkpoints in between, right? And you are resuming your task from these checkpoints, right? So yeah, so this is the first checkpoint, the second checkpoint, right? And your third checkpoint. I hope the things are making much more sense, right?
Yeah, yeah, clear.
Okay, so let me just take to you. Yeah, so see, adding the human in the loop, right? So that means human can control everything, right? Nothing is happening on its own. Okay. So okay, see, whenever you want to add the human in the to in the loop, right? So what we need to do now, we need to basically make a tool whose name is human assistance, right? This is also kind of tool, right? That will basically have the interaction. Human interrupt is there. In interrupt, you can say, or the human participation, you can say, right? So normally means in a technical language we call it interrupt, right? That is receive the information from the human. Okay, so i hope I hope making sense, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Okay, so let me show you this as well. So the same code will be there, only the thing is that now we will just add the human interruption over here, right? Okay. Okay, so this is the tool I have made. I mean, you can make any tool, right? So we'll start with the same thing. Then we have our state, right? And then we have the graph builder that will basically it's the kind of the graph we have defined, right? Then we have the human assistance, mean the human interruption, right? And this human interruption, in the sense, a kind of you can say the request assistance from the human or the interrupt from the human, and this will be in the form of the tool, right? Uh, then again means in the same way you can just see over here we are having the chatbot, right? And this is the interaction, means we will define the whatever the message is there, right, to your tool, right? Means see whatever the interrupt will be there, na, that means it is with mean it is for the tool, right? So this is the one thing, right? And see, whenever you are having the interruption with the human, right, so you need to pause your the working of your tool, right? So this is the one scenario. Then again, we will add this chatbot, the tool node, right? Your tool.
You
Then
know
we will
how to
define
pause that? What is this asset line mean?
pause will be pause will be there means with the help of the checkpoint. Mean the checkpoint will be made and it will pause, right? Once it is done with the human interaction, it will resume its working by taking some input, right? Whatever the input it will get, whenever the tool will have some interaction with the human,
Human. Okay.
surely it will generate some output, right? So that will take at the form of the input, right, for the next working part, for the next cycle, you can say,
Okay.
right? So I will show you. So maybe tomorrow I can show you one running code, right? We will take some human, means you can say input, right? And it will make the checkpoint. It will resume its working from that checkpoint, right? By taking the input, whatever it will generate by interacting with the tool as well, right? So this is the second part, means adding the human into the loop as well, right? I hope making sense these things,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Okay. Okay, so means in the next class now, what I will do means I will show you the working as well, right? Means I will reach home maybe in the afternoon. So in the night we can have the classes and I can just show you this thing, right?
Sure.
That will work. Okay. So I hope you are getting right everything,
Yes.
right? Why the lang chain is important as compared to the sorry, lang graph is important as compared to the lang chain, right?
Right, right. I'm enjoying my reporting manager has told me here we need to develop something ASAP. I told them, okay, let me finish this, then
Okay,
definitely
okay, okay.
develop something. Just like
So, in your company, do you have any opening for data scientist role? For me, because I'm trying to switch, but it should be remote work.
remote is not possible. I mean,
Okay, remote is not possible. So, what
remote
will
is
be the location?
Gurgaon, Gurgaon.
Okay, it is from the Gurgaon.
It's only Gurgaon.
So, any means opening with respect to GenAI data scientist role?
Jane, I'll let you know. I'll find out and let you know.
Sure, 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 sure. Because one offer is with me,
Oh,
and one offer is remote, and one offer is on site.
oh,
Mean one is for the AI developer, the second one is for the lead data scientist.
okay.
But I don't want to go for Jaipur. It is in the Jaipur.
Okay. Which
Yeah,
company? Is it Jaipur or what's the name of company?
it's a Jamport.
Okay. No, I don't know.
Oh, Jamport. Let me check. Let me check one more time. I get something M. Okay, let me check
Actually, there
the.
was one Microsoft partner from Jaipur. I have interacted with them a lot. They are into cloud and other things.
Okay, 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 okay.
Celebrum, I think that was Celebrum. Yes, Celebrum. That was different. So they have office in Jaipur only. So that is the reason I asked whether it's Jaipur or
Okay, okay. Let me tell you the name of the company.
even I am trying to switch over from here. Means
Okay, okay. It's a Martin. Martin.
okay.
Okay, so thank you for joining,
Thank
right?
you, Vinay. Thank you very
Yeah,
much.
yeah. Please let me know, right? Means if you have any
Yeah, yeah. I'll
opening as
find out.
well.
Tomorrow I'll find out.
Okay, 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 okay. Thank you.